GShock Canada is giving away a special prize set with wall clock, watch, and book. And this is according to GCentral.com. Canada, it is your time to shine. The light is on you. From G-Shock, you get special prize, but you got to win, okay? And I don't know if this is like the contest that I won to buy the NASA edition of the GW6900, right? You guys remember that? There was a contest. When you won it, you got to buy this watch, okay? I don't know if this special Canadian contest, when you win, you have to buy it, but let me just read the article from GCentral.com. GShock Canada is hosting a giveaway drawing for Canadian residents with a special prize package, including the DW5600 style wall clock, a G-Shock GWN 5610 watch, and the G-Shock coffee table book by Ariel Adams. Although there will only be one winner, the sign-up process doesn't involve social media and is very straightforward, with a sign-up form requiring a name and email address at gshock.ca. Entrants will be automatically subscribed to the G-Shock Canada mailing list. The entry period ends on September 22nd at 11:59 Pacific time, and the winner will be contacted by email on September 23rd. All right, well, on September 23rd, if any of you gentlemen win, you got to let us know, okay? You're getting this special prize package. It has this, the G-Shock wall clock, which I think is the coolest part, but you also have the DW5600, the GMW 5610, right? That's the one with the extended bracelet, isn't it? I think so. I'm not sure. Anyways, that one does have multi-band 6. I don't think the wall clock does. Beans. Beans, beans, beans. Beans. All right, now that I have the attention of all the British, I want you to know that GShock UK is giving away a Pelly case with a purchase of the MRG watch. All right, so this is like the top of the line one. You got to have a lot of pounds of British money to buy MRG, but if you do, you get a special Pelican case. They call it Pelly case in Europe, I guess. Let me read this article. This is also from GCentral.com. GShock UK is giving away a G-Shock branded Pelly case to customers who buy an MRG watch online from now until September 30th, or while supplies last. The Peak MRG line has grown in recent years, and customers have 15 models to choose from, but some stocks are very limited, including the MRG B5000B-1DR. There's only 3 left. Frogman MRG BF1000B. There's 6 left. And MRG B2100B. There's only 1 left. The prices for the MRG models range from £2,500 to £5,700. According to the image, the case has 3 cutout spaces to hold 3 watches. The MRG line was created in 1996 by Kinkade and a team of Casio engineers with the vision of creating an unbreakable metal watch that could be worn in any setting. The MRG line consists of G-Shock's top watches that are made in Japan at the premium production line in Casio's mother factory. Modern MRG watches are known for their titanium builds and advanced finishing techniques. All right, you gotta pony up if you want to get this special Pelly case, and there's 3 slots, all right? But then there's this article saying there's not many of the actual MRG watches left in jolly old Britain, so how are they going to manage this? I don't know. They probably made a whole bunch of G-Shock boxes, right? All right, and it says limited while stocks last, limited time only. So there's going to be more cases than there are watches, right? And so maybe they're going to have these cases, these exact same cases, available for the MTG line, which is one step down. All right, so I am wearing the GD-010, and I got a lot of hydraulic oil on it. As you guys saw in the shorts, it was just splashing everywhere, and it got all over the watch. It was totally drenched in hydraulic oil. It's still working. All right, that was yesterday. It got It got like accidentally put under a stream of hydraulic oil, used hydraulic oil. It was like really gross hydraulic oil. All right. And so no problem so far. There's still like oil kind of in all the cracks and crevices, and it seeps out. So I'm going to have to wash it again, but still holding up pretty well. All right. But we're going to look at your comments on the videos I've made so far about the GD-010. Okay. And there's a lot of great comments, and they keep on rolling in. There's one in particular I want to focus on. It's a comment by Termit. Okay. But to kick off the comments, Philip Lahell said, I like the design of this one. 10-year battery life is not bad, but they should include multiband 6 at least. Maybe in the future they release a new version with solar and multiband 6, but they managed to include a proper time and stopwatch this time. All right? And that Skater KTS chimed in, and he says they do make it. It's a new Mudman. It's like this watch with tough solar multiband 6. That's a good point by that Skater KTS. But Philip Lahell, he is a Mudman owner. He's well aware of that. Okay, but I think that what Philip Lahell is trying to say is that bring the multiband 6 in at this low price point. Okay, because the Mudman costs more. The Mudman is the next tier up in price. The Mudman is the Master of G line, and so it retails at $380. All right, it's crazy that they don't just put the little multiband microchip in there. I don't understand what the big deal is. John RB says, are you going to get the new metal Mudman, Mr. K? I'd like to. It's over $400. The war chest is really low. The war chest has been depleted. I do have that on the horizon. Hopefully in the next few weeks we can build up some more funds in the war chest, but I would have had enough, except there was like a really good deal on a certain Citizen watch we had been looking at, and I pulled the trigger on that one so we could take a look. But the Metal Mudman is on the horizon. There is one commenter who told me today, I think, that he had purchased it, and that he likes it. So that just, yes. So to answer your question, John RB, yes, but it's going to take some time. Joseph J says, ooh, I like this one. Hope it's not too huge. The GD-010 is not too huge. All right. I think that it's big enough to have some wrist presence and to be durable. Like the bezel is like one of those oversized bezels that G-Shock's famous for, but it's not too huge. Okay. It's really annoying to have like a watch that's so cumbersome and gets in the way. And the go-to example of that, of course, is the King. And I have the GXW 56BB. This watch makes a huge statement because it's so huge. The GD-010, in terms of how high it stands off the wrist, is not too huge, but it does, the band does go out pretty far. It's like the lug to lug's pretty wide. Not too wide, but then the band kind of bows out in a way that it does kind of fit kind of loose, kind of big. I already made a video about that, and I think there's more discussions we can have on that subject. Stefan Pektov said something. Okay, so he wrote in a foreign language. I did use Google Translate, and he said how he was interested in the Mudman. You can kind of see in here it says Mudman 9500, and I told him that. Yeah, I love the Mudman, and I think that he said he was up in the air between the GD-010 and the GA-710 TU, and I told him that there is the GA-710 TU is an anti-digi. There already is an anti-digi of that's very similar to the GD-010, and it is the GA-010. Oh, and he checked in from Bulgaria. I remember that. So it's great to hear from someone from Bulgaria. Bogot 69 says, about the GD-010. It's like a shockified AE 1500. Pretty sweet. And Johan Vanderson chimed in and said, was about to say something similar. It really does look like a pumped up AE 1500. Yeah, you guys know how much I love the AE 1500. $22 can't be beat. It's very durable for an El Cheapo Casio. I don't know if you guys can hear in the background. I'm trying to fish it out of the toolbox. It's being kind of elusive now. Here it is, yes. The AE 1500 is renowned for its gigantic numbers. You don't need to get your reading glasses for this one, gentlemen. And the numbers are not quite as big on the GD-010. I'll make a video comparing the two of them, but the numbers are large on the GD-010, and that is a welcome addition to the GShock lineup. Johan Vanderson says, I like it. The display is great and it has a 10-year battery, which is more than most of my G-Shocks. It might just be me, but the sheen on the plastic looks different than those used on the Mudman and the Rangeman. It seems like your King needs some light. Yes. This plastic is kind of like the GPR H1000. And I don't know if it's because it's bioresin, but it's like... It is different than the other ones. You're right. It's not like the color is different too. It's not like a really rich black. It's kind of like a carbon, like a graphite black, I guess you'd say. And it does feel kind of like it's a different mixture than some of the other plastics in the watches. We'll have to look at that closely in another video. I'll try and do some research to see exactly what type of, mixture of plastic this is. Maybe I can find that information. Pyle213 says, still waiting for your Mudmaster review. Well, yeah, that's the metal bezel Mudman and then the Mudmaster. Yeah, those are two that are on the horizon, but we're going to have to build up the war chest to get to those. And then we have a Citizen watch in the mix. That Citizen watch is on the way. Stay tuned next week. Can you guys guess which Citizen watch it is? Toby3701 says, looks good. Low price tag, big digits, 10-year battery. Can you comment on the screen quality and viewing angles? It's difficult to see anything clearly in your video because the bright light that's reflected in the watch. Yes, in that particular video, which is the chaotic unboxing, like the light was situated that when I held the watch in one spot, the light caused glare, and then when I held it in another, there was like a shadow. Okay, and it's an unboxing. You can't really redo an unboxing. You can't rebox it and then unbox it. So I just kind of rolled with it. And in the next video, I set up the lights, better. It's all about practical process improvement here on the Jim Kinkade YouTube channel. Like I said, my YouTube channel is like a 90s website. It's under construction, perpetually under construction. And there's like still animated GIFs everywhere of, under construction. So the lighting situation improved in the next video. And in some of the shorts, someone was saying, oh yeah, now that the light's better, I can see that the screen looks good, and the screen does look good in the shorts that I was doing outside, which is where the watch belongs, by the way, outside. But anyways, the screen looks great, the sunlight shining in on it, and really crisp, really clear. Now the viewing angle, of course, the viewing angle is not going to be nearly as good as on an MIP, because the MIP is amazing how it's like the watch could be flat to your vantage point, but you could still see the digits. It's amazing. So you do lose the digits after a while on the LCD. But the good thing about this watch compared to the GW6900 is that they put the digits on the GD-010 in the middle of the screen. So the bezel, although thick, does not get in the way of the screen. Now, when you look at the GW6900, there's a big bumper in front of the light button, and it obscures the it obscures the numbers because the numbers on the screen of the GW6900 are close to the bottom. All right, and for those of you watching, you can see the numbers are on the very bottom of the GW6900. So when it's on your wrist, the light button shroud covers the time. So you see the little useless animations in the three eyes, but you can't even see the time. All right. Now the GD-010, the digits are right in the middle. So the bezel will never get in the way. Oops, I just deleted someone's comment, and it was probably the best one. It's probably the Termit one that I was referring to earlier. If it was, I will sum up what he said. Anyways, Sathish Rao, sorry, buddy, you're going to have to tell me how to pronounce your name. He says, simple and elegant, available for $80 here in India. Have a dozen G's trying to resist the temptation. All right, Sathish Rao, he has a huge collection of El Cheapo Casios and pens, a lot of writing instruments. And, sometimes we're like, instead of buying more El Cheapos, why don't we get, the next, instead of 10 cheap ones, why don't we get like one watch the next level? Nope. But he might get this one, and for $80 in India, yeah, that's a good price. So when you think about it, that's like worth, 2 or 3 El Cheapo Casios. Well, just exercise some self-control. All right, walk past 2 or 3 El Cheapo Casios without buying them. Okay. Like, go through the store where there's El Cheapo Casios everywhere and don't buy them, and then you'll have $80 of credit in your budget for the watch. I think that's how it works. Elder Pinto says not bad. That's a good way to describe the GD-010. Dave Kim says looks great. Couldn't say it better. All right, here's Termit's comment. I don't see anything controversial there. That thing is absolutely worth $100, no doubt. Goodbye. That screen reminds me a lot of my GX-056 football Casio, which was a real first thinnest solar atomic GShock ever. It's still officially the first thinnest man's GShock. I'm a huge fan of separating lines, just the opposite of stupid plastic frames like the Casio Royale or King, for example. Now, just wait for the solar version, $100. Solar Atomic, $200. And a steel Solar Atomic, $300. That's Casio's modern style. Solar is nothing special. That's just an inner coating at the glass and one more chip at the circuit board. At least it was like that in the past. Multiband is different. It takes the antenna, which is relatively bad for weight. All right, if Termit's on board with this one, I'd say it's a good buy. In terms of the $100 price tag, it has a stamp of approval. And so the point that he brought up is that, they're leading off with this one. Now, when I looked at it and I was like, oh, there's no solar, I was like, maybe they're trying to save screen real estate, to make those big numbers. They don't have enough room for the solar. But then I'm looking at the other watches, like even the Rangeman, the GPR H1000, the amount of surface area that the solar charging needs on that one looks like it could fit around the screen on the GD-010. So my original premise may be wrong. Termit may be right that they'll start off with the GD-010, then they'll have the GW-010, which will have the solar and atomic, and then they'll have the GWM-010, which has metal and a steel bracelet, and they'll charge $300. So guys like me will buy, we've already bought this $100 one, and then they'll have a $200 one with the solar charging, and we'll buy that one, and then they'll have the steel solar powered one for $300. And then all of a sudden, they've gotten $600 off of us. But if they started out first with, the Solar Atomic one for $200, we'd buy that one, wouldn't buy the other ones. All right. So let's see if that was their plan. And even knowing their plan, I will probably still fall for it. Marcelo P. Tassink says, I love it. I've been waiting for a GShock with a big display for a long time. You and me both. DJ Joe Freitas says, I prayed for a GShock to come out with a big legible display like one on the AE 1500. I was so excited when this came out. I was checking the Casio website literally multiple times a day in hopes for the US release. I ended up ordering one from Japan on eBay for $111.15. The very next day it was released in the USA. I'm still waiting for that shipment. Thumbs down the emoji. Wow, your wrist must be huge considering your band is on notch 2. Do you think a double tang from a GD-100 would fit your GD-010? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't think so because of the way that it's a hooded lug on the band. So I don't have a GD-100. But I'm going to guess based on the ones I've seen that it would not work, but I wouldn't know without trying, and that's a really good question. Maybe we will be able to, right? Do they have a GD-100 TU, which is the tough utility, the one with the Coyote band? I'd be willing to buy that one just to try out, see if we can do a band swap. But yeah. They always do this. Like I bought a Range Man on sale because like I got tired of waiting for this GD-010 and the GM-2110D. It's like, how long are they going to wait? Like these watches like have been rumored teased, and then we're still waiting. And so I got impatient and bought a Range Man with DeWalt accents. So I will unbox that at a later date and compare it to the new Range Man and to the Mudman and to this GD-010. So stay tuned. Cartoon Pete says, oh yeah, I said I have a cheaper brother. Cartoon Pete thought that was funny. Yeah, I'm talking about Russ, my brother Russ. The small wrist says it's a nice option, a little large, but I can appreciate that Casio is offering different sized digital faces / numbers. For me, the digital Protreks are the way to go. PRG 330 and the PRW 35 for anyone with a small wrist and wants large digital numbers. That's true, but it's not a GShock. It's 100 meters water resistance, doesn't have, the impact resistance. It's not as tough. I mean, I'm not saying that the PRW 35 is weak, but they purposefully bring the durability down a notch on Protrek, because one time they made a mistake. They made the PRW 3500. I have that one. That one has 200 meters of water resistance and a metal bezel that's raised. Okay, so it kind of cannibalized a lot of the G-Shocks. The PRW 35, like that one hasn't been released in the United States, right? I can't remember, but the bezel's not raised on that one, so you can see there's, I can understand what the small wrist is saying, like that. The screen on those Protreks are big and beautiful, really huge numbers. So it's kind of along the lines of the AE 1500 or even the Mudman. A lot of people talk about how the Mudman is like a Protrek in the GShock case, and that's true, and I like it. That's why I like it. But as far as the fit goes on the GD-010, I mean, I made a video about how fits a little bit differently, because I also am curious as to how it would fit on a smaller wrist. And so next week I'll get the family together and we'll do a fit test with a variety of wrist sizes. Patrick J 951 says, this looks good and the green model will be my choice. Unfortunately, it does not have the side sports like Mudman 9500. Can you measure how long is the flat backside between when the strap starts to turn downwards? It is valuable to know if it is like the AE 1500 or 9400. It does look large on your wrist. You have around a 20 centimeter wrist. I can't remember the centimeters. I think it's more than 20 centimeters because it's more than 205. I think it's 210 millimeters. I don't remember what it is exactly on the metric system. But when you look at the Casio website, they have all the watches with the bands that go out to 205 millimeters, and then they have extended. Some of them are extended, so they go out to 215, right? So the GD-010 is a longer wristband, and I'm on the second notch. So, yeah, it's just a little. I guess it's just a little bit bigger than 20 centimeters. I think last time we measured it, it was 8.25. I think, but it's like the lug to lug is about the same size as the King. It's about the same. Like, I think that they're all about the same lug to lug of like the bigger G-Shocks, which I think is about 50 millimeters, right? The thing about the band on the GD-010 is that it's angled much differently than the other ones that I have. Okay, it kind of bows out. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's like it's forced into an oval pattern. And my hypothesis is that it has to do with the shape of people's wrists is not cylindrical. I think this might be some next level sizing. I'm not sure. This is just a hypothesis. So I was just throwing it out there. But the AE 1500 does have a steeper angle. It doesn't bow out nearly as much. And the same thing with the GW 9400, which Patrick was asking about. Like I said, I just bought it. I haven't unboxed it yet, but we'll compare it because the bezel design is very similar between the GD-010 and the Rangeman GW 9400. DJ, in terms of Patrick's question about measuring, yeah, I'll sit down and we'll measure all the dimensions, okay, so you guys can kind of get a better idea, all right? But I can't do that now. I don't have the measuring equipment with me. Another comment from DJ Joe Freitas says, is there an instant one button press to activate the stopwatch like in the GW 9400? I have not found that on the GD-010 yet. I haven't read the manual yet, but I have not stumbled upon that feature, although a commenter said that feature is available on the GA010. So we need to confirm that, and one day, hopefully soon, I'll sit down and read the manual. I'll read the dadgum manual, as they say in the programming world, in the world of coders, RTDM, read the dadgum manual, right? I'll get to it. Dirk Pomke says, mine arrived today in green. Sits super flat on the wrist. A great addition to my old school collection of Gs, and it sits nicely between my ProTrek PRG 340 and PRW 30 and the AE 1500. Thanks for the presentation and greetings from Germany. All right, that's great to hear someone from Germany. And it sounds like his collection, he loves those big numbers. Okay. That's why we're also happy to see a G-Shock with the big numbers, right? These watches he listed, the watches that Dirk listed, all have big numbers, right? And the green he chose, I think, is also a good color based on the pictures I've seen. It has a yellow accent behind the little number animation that as the seconds tick away, there's a little animation that goes across between the time and like the section at the very top of the screen. And on my watch is black. That color of the background of that animation is kind of like a darker gray, but it's gray like an LCD screen. Now on the green watch, it's yellow, and I think that looks pretty cool. Like yellow is a great color against the LCD gray. And I don't, like, in the Rangeman, they had a negative Rangeman's LCD screen with a green bezel. And that, I never understood that because the gray goes great with the green. So I'm really happy that the green version of the GD-010 is positive. Okay, there is one GD-010 that has a negative screen, and that's the red one. And I kind of want to get my hands on it at some point just to see if it's a well-executed negative screen. Because the crazy thing is, like the AE1500, its negative screen isn't that bad. And some of the Pro Treks with a negative screen, like the PRW 3510, like that one looks good too, you know? But then like the King and some of the other ones, even the Mudman GW9500, the negative screens are not done well. Neil Louie says, I've been wearing the same one for a couple weeks now. All right, Neil Louie, I hope I'm saying your name right. I believe that he said it's Louie, like King Louie. If I have your name pronounced incorrectly, remind me again. Remember, I have a double-digit IQ. But Neil was saying that he's been wearing, he got his before us. Okay, he kind of cheated. He bought it, you know, I think from one of those companies that will ship it to you from Japan. Okay, so he probably paid a little bit of a premium, but he might have got a break because of the exchange rate, you know. But he has already had his for a couple weeks, right? So he just wants to remind us, and I was kind of tempted to do the same thing, but I got the GShock points. That's how I got this box. It's my GShock points, right? And so I waited a couple weeks because I like to keep all my GShock purchases from GShock.com. You get the GShock points, and you get, you know, you don't have to prove that you bought it because they already know that you bought it if you have a problem. And I did have a problem with my Rangeman, and, you know, there wasn't much questions from GShock when I sent it back. But, you know, if you want to be like Neil, there are options to like jump the gun and to get watches like this earlier when they're released in other markets before the United States. MF 6532 says, nice clean design with elements from the past. So he's a GShock OG, right? And he's a Mudman owner, so I know that he likes those big numbers. And he is like more than a Mudman owner. He is an advocate for the Mudman GW9500. So, yes, it is a nice clean design. Another comment from Neil Louise says, I like the functionality, but most I like the looks. Rugged, but too big with all those sensors, which I don't need protruding. I think he meant to say not too big. So in comparison to the GW9500 or the GW9400, which have the ABC sensors, there's none of that protruding. That's true. It is a nice, clean design. Symmetrical. I don't know how many people, maybe you have OCD, you have to have a symmetrical watch. Don't get the Frogman, all right? And all the watches with ABC sensors, of course, are asymmetrical. The GD-010 is pretty symmetrical. I mean, obviously the letters is like writing on it. That's not symmetrical, but overall, buttons and everything symmetrical. Pat's Guitars, I've got the GA010 incoming. I like the look of the legible analog dial along with a large digital screen. I've heard complaints that these look too much like cheap Walmart Casios, but I like the look of both versions. I'm more into the basic designs rather than the bright colors, negative display models. Yeah, right on. Like I said, this one was made for us, and of course the GA01, I think he meant to write the GA010. That's the anti-digi version of the GD-010. And so Pat's Guitars has to tell us what he thinks when that watch comes in. But yeah, this is like a mature designed G-Shock. It's not like the one with all like the ridiculous little moving pieces. You know, it's like an adult man would want to wear the GD-010. Some of the other ones a little avant-garde in their design elements, let's just say. And as far as looking like cheap Walmart Casios, I don't agree with that. It like when I first handled it, it does feel a little bit cheaper. Like the band Like the way it attaches is a lot like it feels like the AE 1500. I'll show you guys in a video what I'm talking about. Like when you just grab the band, and I'm kind of spoiled because I wear the Mudman, but the band is like I have a feeling it could like give way, not easily, but you know me. If it's gonna break, I'm gonna find out how, inadvertently, of course. Ken Shivers says, the only thing missing from this watch to be perfect is the time display in all modes, screw solar atomic timekeeping. Whoa. Okay. If it would have shown the current time in all modes, it would have been the perfect G-Shock. Cheap, big numbers, 24-hour stopwatch and timer, all you need for an everyday watch. You should not put down solar and atomic timekeeping like you did. All right, he's just like, screw solar or atomic timekeeping. He wants to see the local time in the timer, in the stopwatch. I mean, I don't think it has to be either or, but I understand what you're saying. All right, you've prioritized seeing the time, the local time, while the stopwatch is running. And I agree, because I do use a stopwatch at work. You know, Shane will come over the radio and be like, pump for 15 more minutes and stop. And I'll be like, all right. So I start the timer for 15 minutes, and then 5 minutes later, he's like, hey, can you adjust the rate? Hey, can you do this? Well, I need to see the time so I can write down all of his little, adjustments. Shane is always adjusting stuff when we're working. I have to write it down. I have to see what time it is to write down with my Right in the Rain Metal Readiness pen on the job detail report. I have to write down, increase the rate. 1 minute later, decrease the rate. And then 1 minute later, increase the rate to where it was before. All right. All while the stopwatch is running. And yes, I agree with Ken. It would be great to have that time. It's not there. It's like a huge screen. They got big numbers. I guess they ran out of room. RSSV says, looks like a mix of the GW9500 and the GX56. The GX56, is that the King? Yeah, there are some mixtures there. I can see what he's saying, but it's not as bulky as the King, that's for sure. It's way more diminutive in the height off the wrist. It fits under the sleeve, no problem. I even made a video demonstrating, putting my arm in and out, having the watch go in and out of the sleeve without having to use my other hand to push the sleeve back, and that's not possible. The King, all right. And by the way, the past few days I've been wearing this one shirt that the sleeve is frayed. And now I realize that in a lot of those videos, it looks kind of weird. It looks like I'm wearing like a fleece Sherpa-lined shirt. And I just want to tell everyone, no, the past few days, and I wash a shirt every night, here at the man camp. But it's just like, I pull out of the dryer and just start wearing it again. And the sleeve is frayed. It's a torn up, stained shirt. Gary Hunt says, another great video, also with the different time screens. You can set whether daylight savings time is on or off for each time zone. There we go again. What a great piece of knowledge that he shared with all of us. And yeah, all right, I'll look into that, because I think that's good to have. And because if you are in California, all right, and you're going into Nevada, I don't think that Nevada observes daylight savings time, right? The first time I was driving back from California, I used to be an over the road mover, used to be a trucker, over the road, and so I went from California, into Nevada by Reno, and I was like, all right, now we're in mountain time, so everything should change, and it didn't. And I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? It was very confusing. Like time zones are not clear cut. Like some counties are on at different times. Some of them do or don't observe daylight savings time. So to have that functionality is good, and I'm glad that Gary shared that information with us. And I'll do more research myself to find out how to do this, and I'll share that information with you because I think it's a selling point for some of us who need those multiple time zones and need that type of details that we can customize. So thank you, Gary. He also says regarding the strap gap, I have a GShock GR8900 solar model with a similar design band with even wider fit than the GD-010. The GD-010 sits fine on my smaller wrist, not sure of my exact wrist size. All right, yeah, well, I want to test that because like my hypothesis is that the bow of the band kind of makes it that like as you adjust the band inward, it still maintains an oval shape where most other watches have like a circular shape, as if it was going around a pipe or a cylinder, where the human arm has those two bones, and then like that makes the shape oval. So I'm thinking that this watch will be able to fit a variety of wrist sizes. That's the hypothesis. We have to test it. Oh yeah, Johan Vanderson says, you have two bones in your forearm, the radius and the ulna. Between this and the king, I would have the king, but the one with a positive display. It certainly does appear to wear large, but I think it should be fine. Clear one to look out for. Take care and God bless, Jim. Johan, the thing is that the king is just too big to be practical. I mean, it's a good watch to have, but you know that video I just published where I got oil all over my watch? I made another video. I haven't published it yet. Like immediately after, saying that it's not for nothing that I'm getting oil all over my watch. It's not just, like to torture test a watch for no reason. It's because that type of stuff happens, right? You accidentally get oil all over your watch. As I demonstrated, I accidentally got oil all over it. Now that filter housing there has two hydraulic filters, and the filter housing is arranged horizontally. Okay. So when you pull one filter out, there's like a plastic attachment that holds the two filters together. It's like the filter media. Well, you have to reach in to the housing to pull out the next one. If the second one, the deeper one, doesn't pull out with the front one, right? You can't do that with a king. At least I can't, with my arm being pretty thick already, right? And so the Mudman and now the GD-010, those two, very diminutive. They fit flat, fit close to the wrist. It's good for when you're doing vehicle maintenance. Like if you're finding all the Zerks degrees on your tractor trailer or whatever, you have to reach into tight places. The King just could not cut it, and neither could the GPR H1000, the Rangeman. That one fits like a meatball. They're just impractical if you're working with your hands. But I agree, the King's awesome if you want to make a statement. You're wearing short sleeves. That one's a good one. But again, I tend to review stuff based on like blue collar work, being out there working on stuff. Dirk Pomkey, again, another comment from him, says, I assume the material at the top of the transition from the housing will give a little over time. The gap usually exists on all models. On the GA100, for example, the first hinge element feels a little further away from the bridge and therefore slopes further downwards. The gap is much smaller on the front. Maybe it's just the shape of your own wrist. I have more fat at the back, muscle at the front. We will see. Yes, sir, we shall see. And if you're an owner of it, I guess you'll find out along with me how much it breaks in. Maybe it won't bow out as much over time. And maybe diesel will help that breaking in process too, because it seems to me that diesel really helped with breaking in of the Mudman GW 9500. That's the beeping. That means the dryer's done. Gentlemen, I'm going to have to cut this short because I have to get my clothes out of the dryer before they get thrown on the ground of the man camp. But I just want to let you guys know that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through him. I'm Jim Kinkade. Thanks for watching.